I want to get straight into this. First of all, if I may, let's see, straighten this business out. This is Trump's interview with Tucker Carlson, and he looks like shit. I don't mean this just because he's a piece of shit. I mean because he genuinely, like, looks gross puffy. Something's up. Like, I drove all night last night. I've slept a total of like 2 hours and 25 minutes in the last, 30 hours. And granted, he's, a 70 some odd year old man, but ugh. So this is 3 parts. We'll get through this hopefully in tonight's show. I have a feeling if I start right away, we'll still be at it. So I'm going to hit it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the show, thumbs up, memberships, all the stuff I'm supposed to say. Patreon.com/HalSparks. Or you could just be a giant whale who likes Cash App, and that'll rotate over into Venmo as well. Okay, here we go. Oh, God. Wish me luck.
Mr. President, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on one second. It's very quiet. Let me see if I can bring it up a little bit for me. Yep, there you go. I don't know why it was turned down like that.
Last week, you were in New York for this arraignment. The world watched it. You've not given...
Yes, we waited with bated breath. The world watched it, and it wasn't as well framed as this weird... What the fuck are they expecting? A cake that somebody will jump out of? What is this? I mean, it's weird enough that you're, like, inside a wedding cake, but this table is sitting over here with flowers on it. There's not, like, a table to put your drink on or anything like that, which seems logical in a long-form interview. Can we fix this shit? Protocol. Journalists. Here's how it works. There is either a big enough central table where you're sitting across from someone like you're sitting at a desk, or a dining room table, like a dinner table, where you can set your notes and your drink on it and you're talking across a table to somebody. You can do it that way. Or you can each have a little, like, island right here for notes, drinks, and whatever. You know what you should get? You know those little things for magazines that they have next to toilets? Bring 2 of those. This is fucking weird. I keep expecting a dance number.
Interview since you were there, I think, 57 minutes. Tell us from your perspective what that was like.
Well, it was a horrible thing because I did nothing wrong.
It was a horrible thing because they caught me.
Absolutely nothing wrong. You look at even the pundits and the legal analysis, Greg Jarrett, all of these.
Wait, Greg Jarrett said so? Well, shit.
Really talented people. They're
Geraldo, well, he wasn't on board. Jesse Waters, anybody who can go right, who's not afraid to get on the I guess the S line or whatever, the blue line, and go, I don't know, I don't ride poor people trains, and go down to Chinatown and be racist right to their faces. That's a finely tuned legal mind.
Saying he didn't do anything wrong. So that's number one. Number two.
Yeah, that's what they said. He didn't do anything wrong. No, they didn't. Some of them are saying that they don't think what he did can legally be charged as a campaign violation. None of them think it was right that he was fucking a porn star and paid her off to shut up to protect his campaign, and because it happened while his wife was home with their 5-month-old.
They were incredible. When I went to the courthouse, which is also a prison in
a sense. Yeah, it's sort of like, I don't know if you know, this is how some jails are. I guess apparently when you're guilty, they can take you right, and there's like a cell right there. They have cuffs in that place. Again, like, this is so oddly dumb.
Signed me in, and I'll tell you, people were crying. People that work,
with laughter
there, professionally work there, that have no problems
that professionally work there. Some of the amateurs there were not crying. I don't know why.
In murderers, and they see everybody. It's tough place. And they
apparently it's a prison in a lot of ways.
They were actually crying. They said, "I'm sorry." They'd say, "2024, sir, 2024," and tears are pouring down their eyes. I've never seen anything like the.
By the way, tears don't pour down your eyes; they pour down your face. They come from your eyes, and if this man has ever had a moment where he actually had an emotion that involved another human being for more than a millisecond, out of obligation or some sort of promise of reward, he would know that. Just don't run down your eyes.
Those people are phenomenal. Those are your police.
Yep.
Those are the people that work at the courthouse.
Uh-huh. So you were in a building and there were people there that work there. Uh-huh. Yeah.
They're unbelievable people. Many of them were in tears or close to it.
Yeah, close to. I mean, you could tell. Weren't most of them close to it? Aren't we all on the edge of tears all the time? You could tell.
Many apologists were sorry, sir. We're sorry. They had to have me do certain things. They said, sir.
Sir, sorry, but we have to look in your butthole if you can find it.
I can't believe I have to ask you. I can't even believe that I have to ask you to do it. You could see.
Ask you to do what? Drop your shorts and spread them? What? I'm sorry. I need to frisk you, sir.
So in one sense, it was.
Is Ronnie Jackson here?
Beautiful, because they get it. In another sense, you know, it's nasty.
Yes. On the one hand, it's beautiful because they get it. On the other hand, it's beautiful because you're going to get it. So, you know.
I went to the Wharton School of Finance. They didn't teach me about that. That wasn't like
they
in
didn't
the
know
cards.
about the arraignment part?
That wasn't, we didn't have a class on arraignment.
First of all, how do you not fucking know? How do you not know how any of this shit works? Your attorneys haven't talked this over with you, or are they just as fucking dumb?
And, you know, it was a sad day in many ways, and in many ways it was a beautiful day because the people understand. I didn't know this was happening, but the poll numbers have gone through the roof.
Oh, yeah. You're doing great. Yeah, keep at it. You haven't lost a single vote. You know what? Who you've really gotten is suburban women. They're back in droves. They like the bad boy kind of thing. You know, they like, you know, potential felons.
The people get it. And the other ones are hoaxes also. You know, the box hoax. Look at Biden. He's got 1,850 boxes. And, you know, that's a hoax. And then.
Yes, it's a hoax that he has 1,850 boxes, I suppose.
The one in Atlanta where I had a perfect phone call. This is all weaponization. They're weaponizing our justice system, Tucker. And they think if they go and give you a subpoena, you know, I guess I'm very well known and people understand it and they get it. And maybe I have a bigger platform so I can explain it. But if you're somebody, a Republican, let's say, running for office and you get a subpoena.
Yeah. Do you know what those things are? Like, I don't know, like Roy Moore got, you know, for his phones and his correspondence about him having sex with minors and stuff. Like, that's a lot.
You might as well resign because you're not going to be able to survive it. And
The fuck is he talking about? Tons of politicians across the board have gotten subpoenas over the years. Some of them have stepped down or lost their jobs and others haven't. Jesus Christ.
Voters aren't going to handle it. The voters aren't going to take it. What they're doing is weaponizing the system, and there's never been anything like it. And it's all disinformation. You see, the other day...
By the way, hold on. How tall is Tucker Carlson? He's 6 feet tall. And he weighs approximately 180 pounds. Yeah. I weigh 165 and I'm 5'9". No. Unless he's like, I mean, his legs are skinny, so maybe there's just no meat on the bone, but whatever. But he's 6 feet tall. This Trump is supposed to be 6'3". Look at the size of his head and look at this. What the fuck? Are they doing this on purpose? Is this an edit? I would love to find out that, like, there's an editor at Fox News just fucking with him all the time. Like, look at Tucker's hands and look at Trump's hands. Look at Tucker's hands and look at Trump's hands. And now both of them have them in their laps in this weird kind of ball cover way.
Afghanistan, one of the worst things I've ever seen. I think the most embarrassing moment that this country's ever had, frankly. The way we got out, not the getting out. We had to get out. It was ridiculous to be there. And
But you were gonna stay in Bagram
I
forever.
have that so good, so tight, so tough. I
had that so good, so tight, so tough. Yes,
spoke to the leader, Abdul. I said, Abdul, if you do anything, you're going to get hit really hard. Literally, I even.
And by the way, Tucker's laughing at him because he knows this is bullshit. He laughs at him. He fucking hates Trump. He's talked about this and he's heard this shit story before.
He said, but so why? Why? He goes, why oh why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you'll have to figure that one out, Abdul. But we didn't have one death in 18 months. He knew, not one death. And then to see the way we got out, like we were surrendering, like taking the military out first, leaving $85 billion worth of equipment behind.
Also, none of this is true. Just a gish gallop of bullshit, and Tucker's not pushing back on any of it.
Giving up Bagram, I was going to keep Bagram. I was getting.
Yeah, that's how you get out, by staying. I was going to get out of the country for good. I was getting us down. We were going to get out of there. Of course, we were going to keep the largest military base in the country and staff it nonstop forever.
But not for Afghanistan. It's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. It's one of the biggest Air Force.
1 hour by what? Helicopter? Who gives a fuck?
Bases in the world. I think the biggest, with runways that go 10,000 feet. I was keeping that because of China, not because of Afghanistan.
Right.
And
what do you mean, right? No, we have satellites. We don't. Why the fuck do we need to be an hour away by airplane?
They left everything. They left in the dark of night. They left the lights on. They left the dogs, by the way. You know, the people say about the dogs. They left the dogs. Everyone, you know, the dog lovers. And you got a lot of them. I love dogs. You love dogs. But
no, he doesn't love dogs. Trump has never had a pet.
They left the dogs. People said, what? One of the first questions I got, what did they do with the dogs? Mostly German Shepherds. They left them. What they did, the way they got out was...
You mean the dogs that were for the Afghan military to use?
So horrible. Okay. Everybody knows...
They left their dogs, not our dogs.
That was their plan. That had nothing to do with me. I was getting out, too. We would have gotten out with strength and dignity.
And stayed forever in Bagram. We would have gotten out by staying in, which is how Eric was born, unfortunately.
And what happened? They got out. And the other day I hear, yeah, it was Trump's fault. Oh, that's right. It was Trump. I was gone for a long... I would have been out faster than them. We would have had all the equipment. We would have had the American citizens. We left hostages. We left Americans behind. Many. I think many more than you think.
Yeah. We left the same amount of Americans in Afghanistan as Mexicans who have come across our southern border. 11 million at least.
And we had 13 soldiers killed. And nobody ever mentions the fact that we had many maimed so badly. No arms, no legs. Their face was obliterated. This is the way this guy got out. We would have gotten out with dignity and strength. We were going to.
Yeah, we were going to. I just didn't have time to. I could have ordered that exact withdrawal in December after I lost the election, but I was in such a fuck America zone. I just wasn't into it. You know what I mean? And there was all this COVID, and I was mad at Xi Jinping. Yeah.
But I was taking 100% of, I said, I want every nail. I want every screw. I want the tents. They said, sir, the tents are very hard to take out. I said, I want the tents. I want the tanks. I want the planes. I want everything. And a couple of them fought me on it, like Milley. He said, sir, I think it's cheaper to leave the equipment.
And by the way, he's like got a Bullfrog jowl happening. This is strange. That's a new kind of jowl that's happening. Anyway, maybe he just didn't shave well and there's makeup on it.
Went behind. I said, let me ask you, we have a plane that cost $100 million. It's sitting there. All it needs is a tank of gas, right? Give me a
They took the planes out. All right.
Little jet fuel. We'll fly it to Pakistan or any place else, or we'll fly it directly home. You say it's cheaper to leave a $100 million plane. Sir, I think overall it's cheaper. These are idiots we're dealing with. They left $85 billion worth of equipment. They left our American citizens behind. And they moved the military out first. No, you move the military out last. I did a little skit with a 5-year-old kid. I said, let me ask you.
Oh, this is, well, I mean, this is the same shit we hear all the time. He's just doing, this is the stump speech to Tucker.
Here's the situation. I explained the situation. I said, would you take the military out first or would you take it out last? I take it out last.
Sir, by the way, did you show that kid the photo of the sergeant who was the last to leave walking up into the plane? Did you show the 6,000 extra military members that went there to help with the evacuation? Did you? That would be sending more people in to help with it, and they left last?
5-year-old. But they took the military out first, and they were afraid of our military. When I was there, they were afraid. We didn't have one soldier killed.
That was the deal he made. Don't kill any of our soldiers, and we'll be out by this date. And then he did none of the work. Says set it up. This is so fucking dumb.
18 months, Tucker. Not one soldier was killed in 18 months. And then we got out like we surrendered. I think it was the single most embarrassing day in the history of our
He says this all the time. Like he's now repeating this on a loop.
country. It was totally their fault. They didn't go by anything because, you know, we had a system of getting out.
Which was what?
If the Taliban, in particular, the Taliban, because that's where the action was, right? When I called Abdul, the press went crazy. The fake news went crazy. Why did he call an enemy? I said, well, it's Jesse James. I used to ask him, why did he rob banks? He said, that's where the money is. Why did I call the head of the Taliban? Because that's where the killing was.
Is it just me? Or is he just trying to snort up his own upper lip?
And he's there now, Abdul. I'm sure he likes me. Call me Your Excellency. I don't know if he calls Biden Your Excellency.
I hope fucking not.
Probably. I mean, you know, they're one of the largest arms dealers now in the world. They're selling the $85 billion worth of it because they only need 5% of it.
Of course.
They're selling.
Of course, of course. Have you? We're gonna cut to footage right now of those arms showing up in a bunch of different countries. Now, obviously, we're gonna cut to footage of Africa because that's what scares Tucker's voters the most. And of course, the guns that we're gonna see there are AK-47s. But
The equipment. They're one of the largest, I think, second.
yes, that was Willie Sutton, not Jesse James. Excellent point, Leather Goddess of
Arms
Phobos.
dealers, brand new helicopters, brand new airplanes, brand new tanks. Unbelievable what we left behind. We ran, and there was no reason to.
We ran. Fuck you.
I had them. I could have stayed there for 5 years.
He was going to. He was going to stay forever. That. What the fuck do you think keep Bagram means?
If I wanted to, I wanted out. 21 years was enough. I wanted out. We shouldn't have.
Well, then why didn't you do it during COVID? What better cover was
in the
there?
first place? But
I didn't do it the entire time I was in office because fuck it.
when I see what happens, when I see the level of stupidity, and because of that, it's all a big web. Because of that, I think
Jesus.
Putin, who would have never gone into Ukraine.
Okay, so yeah, this is just this is his Gish Gallop of choice about world events.
When I was there, would have never. I talked to him about it often. Would have never.
Yeah, hold on, I have to stand up. I drove last night. I'm tired, but I feel like it's better standing.
Never ever done that. When he saw that I wasn't there.
When he saw that I wasn't there, and he could use his cocaine uninterrupted.
He saw these fools, these stupid people. And think of that, the way they left Afghanistan and nobody was fired. I fired a lot of people because if they didn't do a good job, I'd fire them.
May I ask, you talked to Putin about Ukraine. What did you say to him?
I could see that he loved it. And
I could see that he loved it. Well, no, there's no greater sign of love than a mass grave. I mean, look at, sure, Putin has Bucha, Trump has Ivana at Bedminster.
I said...
he loved Ukraine.
He considers it to be a part of Russia.
Yeah.
Russia.
I said, not when I'm president. We had a very good relationship. I mean, look, I was the worst thing that ever happened to him. I closed up his pipeline. You never heard the words Nord Stream 2 until I came along. Nord Stream 2 was their pipeline.
Because it was being built. It wasn't. All right.
And I had a great relationship with him, but it was very tough because they had a fake Russia investigation. And I told them,
That's a really, like, that whole, like, is he plugging a hole in his hard palate so he can sniff without the air being pulled up through the roof of his mouth like Don Jr.?
and he told me, he said, it's very hard for us to deal, don't you think? I said, very hard, because we have a fake investigation that turned out to be a fake. For 2 years it went on. And we could have done very well with Russia. They have great minerals. They have great things that we want.
Yeah, minerals, absolutely. All the vitamins you'd need. It's basically like a breakfast cereal that pushes people out of windows.
Could have, and they need the money, and they need other things.
They need other things, like the freedom to kill.
But that
They needed other things, like Ukraine and Georgia and Chechnya and, of course, Moldova, and Latvia and Lithuania. But yes,
interfered. That was a terrible thing. That was actually a treasonous thing to do. Those people should have been arrested. They made it up. They made up a problem with Russia that didn't exist. Now they've all admitted it didn't exist.
No, they haven't.
It's just on to the next one.
On to the next one. You were on to the next one, motherfucker. Barr helped you dodge any comeuppance from the Mueller report. He guaranteed they couldn't look into your finances. He stopped them from being able to indict you. And as soon as it was over, you're like, he wrote me a 4-page note. He's my Roy Cohn. Fuck everybody. And you immediately called Zelensky and threatened him.
Often say, they said to me the other day,
oh, this is you must be the most honest man.
one of your fellow journalists said, who's the biggest problem, sir? Is it China? Could it be Russia? Could it be North Korea? No, I said, the biggest problem is from within.
Yeah, that's what it is. Democrats, clearly.
It's these sick, radical people from within, because we can handle, if we're smart, we can handle Russia, China. I did. I took in billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No other president took in anything, and they respected me. He's the same thing, you know.
Jesus Christ.
I told him, you can't go into Taiwan.
It's the same stuff all the time.
You can't do it.
You can't go into Taiwan. You can't do it. Wait till my second term and then do it in like the last year, because I give a fuck.
I won't tell you exactly what I said, but it was something that probably a lot of people wouldn't like if they heard it, but it was very tough. Don't go into Taiwan.
It was probably something very tough, like, don't go into Taiwan until I'm at the end of my presidency, or the year after when Pence is in there, because fuck him. And after my second term, then you can go in and I'll help you. I'll make sure that we start moving our shit out like a year before, like we did with Ukraine.
If you do, we're going to have problems.
And then of course I couldn't, because the Congress had already allocated the money and I couldn't. I tried, though.
Other than that, we're going to be great relationship. We're going to have a great relationship.
And you trusted him about COVID, and everything worked out.
And he said to me when I said, we're going to do something, if he goes in, no, you wouldn't do it. I'll do that. I swear I'll do that. And he didn't.
Do what? Again, do what? Nuke China? Send in warships? Defend Taiwan? Because the whole idea has been this, like, when Biden was like, yeah, we're going to defend Taiwan with force, his whole side was like, what the fuck? You're going to start World War III with China. And this motherfucker wants everybody to believe that in a private meeting with Xi Jinping, he said, if you enter Taiwan, I'm going to fuck you up.
He didn't believe me, but he believed me 10%. The same.
Is that because he was 90% laughing?
Thing with Putin. I said I was going to do something really nasty if he goes into Ukraine. He said, no, you're not going to do that. I said, I will. And he didn't believe me either, but he believed me 10%.
Because that was your commission?
And the 10%, you never heard talk about going into Ukraine. You never heard talk about going into Taiwan.
Going into Ukraine, they were already there, motherfucker.
Until I was no longer there. Now, what a mess the world is in. What a mess.
What a mess. All right, this is the next piece of it. He seems very confused about why he would be asked questions on this. Again, this is the same shit we hear all the time. For the record, he was going to hand Ukraine to Russia. He was going to hand Taiwan to China. The idea is that he was going to undermine NATO. If we could close down NATO, it would make it even easier. That's why this never would have happened, because they never would have had a chance.